Omies, Omies. I could not have gotten less glamorous with my spontaneous sip of tea about hormones. But the third part is meatiest and the best, and I would love to have you drop in live with me. So I'll just hang for a couple breaths to let the algorithm be in my favor, and then we're going to talk about these beautiful phases throughout the cycle, and not just the bloody one, right? All of it. Let's really talk about the experience of being a hormonally present human on this planet today and what that means. So just drop in to your body here and now. Maybe allowing your eyes to close, definitely letting your shoulders roll back and your crown lengthen slightly. Sit up. When we arrive to a space of meditation, we can imagine taking an inner throne where there's all this inner alignment that occurs, softening the jaw, feeling the breath deepen. Yeah, right? Thank you for dropping in, for tagging this video, for returning to it, for co-creating this practice this morning with me. I'm just going to allow the breath to move in and out of the body several times before initiating the work. And inviting the rhythm of the breath to also be the metaphor of the mind, whether it is the tide and waves moving in and out, or if you feel that pattern, that cyclical rhythm in any other visualization or feeling. It's present in the buzz of our homes, in the whirl of the breeze. So you're becoming aware of this moment, and with that, the body releases sensations. So imagining yourself as a vessel, we're just going to increase a positive sensation, inhaling, I am alive. Yes, you are. Exhaling, I am more than good enough. I am infinitely capable. Sorry, exhale into that reality and then inhale those things. I am alive. I am more than good enough. I am infinitely capable. I am here now. And every time we exhale, we just acknowledge that truth. We resonate into that ability to be those things here and now and more than good enough, infinite, capable. I am alive. Let's do that one together. I am alive. Exhaling an affirmation of that truth. So this is relevant to me because to dive straight into that graph, I used to track my days and manage my life around that because it mattered so much, because my brain was so different, whether I was in that little blue bubble or the red bubble or whatever. And then a life-saving tactic that I have adopted is taking synthetic hormones. And this is another story in its own right, but it is working well enough for me, despite the risks present in taking continuous synthetic hormones. So as a result, I don't have this ability to track my days as much as I once did. And yet still am maybe able to feel the nuances of my own natural hormonal activity underneath the suppression provided by a synthetic hormone. So the reality of the scenario is being alive on this planet allows us to have these cycles, right? And what's happening in these cycles is very biological. It's very evolutionary. I'm not a scientist by any means. I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to offend anybody's ears. But I do think the reproductive health care is in crisis, and the young people and old people, women of all ages, need this empowerment. So take what applies, leave what doesn't. Our first day, cycle day one, is when we bleed. So the day before you bleed is cycle day zero. Why is cycle day zero relevant to me? Because I've experienced a sense of cannot endure, will not live, kill me now, like deep despair prior to bleeding. And so cycle day zero is just a reminder that this too shall end, that this cycle doesn't actually end. But those of you perimenopausal in the room or menopausal in the room know, even me with suppression, know the cycle does kind of end. Carrying on, cycle day one is the first day we bleed. A lot of young people don't have this information in their lives, so empower them with that. Track their days. Ask them if they know how many days their cycle typically is. And then pause. Here's another best practice I've learned on the rocky road of PMDD. Do it for 2 months because we have two ovaries, and one egg will drop from each ovary month to month, typically in a healthy, balanced body. So it's not just 23 or 28 or 21 day cycle. It's actually a 42 or 48 or 50, 60-day cycle. That's the reality. So it takes time. When we talk to young people who are in these hormonal flows, 60 days is like eons in their lives. So to ask them to pause and reflect and take this daily count is truly radical, like maybe more valuable than meditation. Not to judge or like prescribe. I'm thinking it's powerful. It's as powerful as journaling. So moving along, we might bleed for a certain number of days. Every woman has a story to tell about this, and I think it's actually really important and sacred that we do hold space about this. But then we get into these lesser known phases, this beautiful purple bubble you see between like approximately day 7 to day 14, maybe. Totally arbitrary numbers here, sis, don't worry. And then stretching out to like day 28 or however long your cycle might be. So in the proliferative phase, we are building up to ovulation. And in the secretory phase, we are coming off of ovulation. So in the unfortunate world of PMDD, it's like trying to squeeze all of your life into 2 weeks because 2 weeks will render your body like incompatible with how you want to live your life, maybe. Please, please, please know that there are amazing resources for PMDD out there, and I speak candidly about it to be able to connect women who need them to those resources. So never hesitate to ping me in real life or here around those topics if you have women in your life who are struggling. Ovulation and what we can all relate to and need to keep in our mind as we interact with young people and people of all ages around our reproductive health care is that what ovulation is the preparation of an egg. This is when couples trying to get pregnant are trying to get pregnant, right? It's when our body is able to reproduce, so this egg is fertile. So for a woman to be hypersensitive during this time is an evolutionary trait, biological necessity. And then let's step back to the state of our planet. And if women are having incredibly traumatic symptoms around ovulation, it's an indication that we're maybe allergic to our environment and our hormones as the most sensitive system, most agile system in our body is alerting us to it. This is why, specifically in PMDD, but in any case of PMS, less alcohol, less meat, less sugar is going to have a radical impact on the body because the body can only handle so much inflammation. I'm sorry, friends. I'm being informed that I have low TPS. I'm not sure if the audio or video is smooth, so I won't ramble on too much longer. But if you've tuned in to the replay, thank you. To the live, thank you. We've been looking at the power of hormones and trying to create a solid foundation upon which we can stand proud to be sensitive and alive on our planet, right? That our hormonal activity is an indication of our vitality and our stability, as well as part of procreation, part of relationships and humanity continuing. So this is not something to be swept under the rug and belittled. Like, we need to help young people come of age, and I think we can all help each other age out, or whatever it is we call the other end of this, the becoming of the crone, the perimenopausal moments of our lives. So Yeah, the point is that we can all treat this moment of ovulation as a reckoning of if our planet is really safe for us, and if our lifestyle is really safe for us, and if our homes are supportive of our dreams and our well-being, right? And so, yeah, this is an important graph to look at. Tracking the days is a big takeaway. My hope is that one of two things are happening. You're like, Amina, I know this. What am I supposed to do with it? What you're supposed to do is talk to young people about it, or people in your peer group, like coworkers. Just let women feel less alone in this reality and more special by it. Ancient cultures revered women for our fertility, for our intuition, for our creative capacity. And so the ways in which we can just infuse that in our modern life will heal us all. And for me, that's been able to show up to this little space that I'm already dusting off for some years in practice, to show this image that I love and remember seeing and feeling so liberated by, because I was able to, for the first time, understand where these huge bursts of anger were coming from, where these huge bouts of despair were coming from. And now, when the echoes of them linger, I just listen and trust that the system learns and grows, and that this symptom must be mediated with my lifestyle and my choice and my relationships and what I put into my body and how I treat it. So that is the sentiment I bring to sustainable wellness every day. And it is the sentiment I bring to this space this year's end. So thank you. Have a wonderful Saturday. Feel free to chime in. And my current frame rate is too low. I do hope you've heard this. Namaste.